Alright chat, rent is due, views are down, you know what that means. Time for 300 days. So, I wasn't gonna wait like 5 months to post another video, but oops. Anyways, this video took me a long time to make, so please hit that like button if you guys enjoy, and hit that subscribe button. And speaking of subscribers, we hit 10,000 subscribers before 2025. I can't believe we actually did that. Thank you guys. And something else you guys will want to know, I'm gonna start streaming 400 days on Twitch. And for what I want to do in 400 days, it's gonna be an insane video, so you guys are definitely gonna want to check that out. So that way you guys won't have to wait like several months for more content, and you can see all the behind the scenes like my testing worlds, and you could even give me suggestions on what to do live, and so I'll leave a link in the description. And you know what's even crazier? I still haven't even got a sponsorship yet. Guys, January ad revenue is bad, okay? The adpocalypse is real. Anyways, here's 300 days. So, I don't know if you guys could tell, but my frame rate hasn't been very good lately. Now, I don't want to point any fingers, but I have a sneaking suspicion that it might be because of my chickens. Now, I don't know exactly how many we have, but if I had to guess, I'd say like 700 million. Yeah, so when I'm nearby the chickens, my frame rate is like 20, and when I go away from them, I'm almost at 200. So in order to, fix this problem, I'm gonna make something called a red guitar. It's kind of like my red morning star, just built out of different tools. But this thing has a specific feature that I want to use. Alright, chickens. I'm sorry. Oh, nothing happened. Okay, I think the issue is the keybind, so if I change that... Oh, well, at least my frame rate's a lot better. And don't worry, guys, the chickens didn't actually die, they just, Okay, so fun fact, one of the developers from Industrial Craft Classic 2 actually commented on my video, and he told me I need to make something called an industrial worktable. So basically how it works is you can save recipes in it so you can quickly craft them, and I believe you can actually upgrade it with a memory chip. What is this? Mechanical pig? What the fuck? And it has this function called recursive crafting, where basically it'll automatically craft all the ingredients that you need if you have that recipe saved. I added a few recipes, and I made this thing called an EU reader, which basically will just measure how much EU is going through a certain cable. I added some more recipes so I can make these upgrades that I just found out about, which, if I had known a bit earlier, would have made things a lot easier. They're called import and export upgrades, which basically what they do is they automatically will fill a machine with items and then automatically take them out. So not only will this save a lot of space, but it'll also remove the overflow, transport items immediately, and it'll reduce the lag because I won't have to have a bunch of pipes everywhere. So yeah, I'm kinda a little bit late on this. With these new upgrades, I can make some changes to the UU Matter machines. If you remember from 200 days, which, yeah, I know that was a long time ago, okay? You know, I have a full-time job, you know, and I work really hard on these videos, so stop being mean in the comments. Anyways, I was constantly waiting for more UU Matter in 200 days, so I really need to make this now so it'll generate throughout the whole video. Also, somebody told me that for the advanced machines, you can use redstone to keep them powered, so that way when they're not running, they're not going to lose efficiency, so... yeah, that's another thing that I wish I had known earlier. And for these import and export upgrades, you can select the direction by right-clicking it on the machine. So I'm going to have both of these recyclers export into the mass fabricator. And I'm also going to power the mass fabricator separately from the recyclers, because I want this to be powered directly from high voltage, so we don't have to lose any power. Alright, so this is looking pretty good. Scrap's going in there. Very nice. I used the EU reader on the mass fabricator, and apparently it was getting less than 200 EU per tick, which is like really slow. But once I removed the power to the basement, it shot up to over 1500. In the morning, my solar panels kicked in, which brought me to over 3000 EU per tick. It was so fast that it was using scrap literally faster than my 3 energy collectors could make. So I decided to switch it from recycling cobblestone to recycling copper. This way it'll give me metal scrap, which is a lot more efficient to use in the mass fabricator. I went to check out the EU output of my nuclear reactors, and okay guys, okay, I know how to do this. I got this. All I gotta do, switch to my red guitar, charge it up, and slay all. 3 simple inputs. I gotta do this really quickly. I got this. Okay, well, that was a bit unfortunate, but not gonna lie, I honestly thought there was gonna be a big nuclear explosion and it would destroy my whole factory, so I'm glad that didn't happen. After I got the reactor fixed, it was time to fix another machine of mine that was just honestly so bad. Can you figure it out? That's right. It's my solar panel generator. Now, a lot of people told me to use logistics pipes, but I actually decided I'm not gonna do that in this series, and I actually have a really good reason, because, I can't be bothered. The tutorials were like super complicated and I literally could not be bothered to learn how to do it. Anyways, I'm gonna do the next best thing and set up a very optimal design. Alright, so I've set up this little module here which makes copper cables, and those cables go into this other module to make the electronic circuits. So basically the machines are using the import and export upgrades to move the items into the auto crafters, and to transport the other items I'm using filtered importers, which are basically like the item importers, but they can transfer a whole stack at a time. Okay, so now I just gotta build the rest of the modules for every single thing to make a solar panel, and it should be done. And there we go. Oh, it's backwards. I do that. I swear I do that every time. And there we go. It is finished. So in like 15 minutes, we've only got a little over half a stack of solar panels, which is a lot better than the old design, but it's still not enough. Autocrafters are kind of slow, so even if we had infinite items, it's gonna bottleneck the entire design. So we can use this thing called a flux generator. Basically, it allows you to power buildcraft items with industrial craft power, which we can transfer using these flux cables. So while we're waiting for more to generate, what better time to fix the other crap that I built that also doesn't work? So I noticed for a while my geothermal generators aren't actually being powered, and I think it's because the chunks that are sending over the ender powder aren't actually being loaded. So I moved it inside of my factory so that the chunks would be loaded more often, and when I went to check on my solar generator, yeah, that's a lot. So now that we have essentially infinite solar panels, it's time to make some other power generation items. Cause that makes sense somehow. I made a bunch more ender tanks and I hooked them up to the nether pumps, so now we can transfer the lava a lot faster. So I want to have an area of my factory to be kind of a power plant with a bunch of different power generation methods, and the creator of Tekkit 2 actually reached out to me and updated the mod pack so that I could do this. That's right, replay mod now works, let's go! Shout out to John, thank you. So now that we've built our lava generation, it's time to build our water generation, which we can do with water mills. I spent the whole next day making water mills and eventually got a high voltage one. So now it's time to build up the water area. Alright, so I know I just got the replay mod working, but it keeps crashing because the file is like 5 hours long, so we're just gonna fast forward that. Basically, how the water mills work is you put them in water and they generate electricity. I know, right? Who would have guessed? And this high voltage water mill is making 17 EU per tick, which is pretty much nothing. But since you don't have to fill it with resources like lava and it generates 24/7, it's not bad, I guess, you know? It's alright. So I know this is kind of a weird problem to have, but we have too many solar panels. So I think it's finally time to upgrade it a little bit. I don't want to have to manually turn all of these into low voltages and then medium voltages, so what do you think I'm gonna do next? If it wasn't obvious, I'm making it automatically make low voltages and then mediums. Now you guys have seen me build this kind of thing a million times already, so I'm just gonna go over it a little bit quickly. Did you get all that? I told you it'd be fast. While we wait for that, we have almost 6 stacks of UU matter, so I put some in a plasma fire. In most of the high-tiered items, plasma cells are one of the main ingredients, and they just take forever to make, so I kind of realized something about all of our machines. They suck. We only have 2 of each machine, and they're extremely slow. And I think at this point, we have the resources and knowledge to make something just a little bit cooler. Alright, here it is. So now all I gotta do is fill it with the import upgrades. I also added these iron panels over the pipes so I can give the filters some redstone, and I powered all the machines with a lever so I can keep them running at full speed. After that, I made a few of these wireless receivers and I hooked them up with a timer to power the filters. Okay, so I have the wireless transmitter here connected to the timer, and look at that, all the filters are in fact working. Let's go. So I connected each machine up to some ender chests to transport it wirelessly. So if I put a bunch of iron in this one, it should start to fill up the furnaces. It's kind of working, I think. Okay, let's try out the extractor. Whoa, that was cool. And yes, okay, it's working. Very nice. The filters aren't taking it out though, which is kind of weird. Whatever, I'll fix it later. For now, I decided to move all my MFSUs into this new spot above all the machines, and then I made a proper area for all my machine inputs with a crystal chest and filters going into each ender chest. By now, I'd realized why my machines weren't working. The filters don't take anything out since there's more than one inventory slot, so it doesn't know what item to take out. So in order to fix it, I have to use the export upgrades into some chests, and then use the filters from those chests. After I finally finished that, I decided to remove this staircase because it was kind of in the way of everything, and I just made a hole in the middle so I can fly through it. And you guys won't believe what I did next. In 225 days, we've accomplished some amazing things. We've built unbreakable armor. We've harnessed the power of magic to create infinite matter. We've constructed so many complex machines. We've walked on the moon. We've even built a Walmart. But despite all of these things, there's been one thing that has been out of reach until now. And that is lamps. Yeah, I'm finally gonna light up the base. I placed the sea lanterns around the hole, and yeah, they're a little bit bright, so I covered them up with some basalt panels. That way they don't blind me every time I walk into my base, and the lighting effect still works through them. Next, I'm actually gonna make something new. Can you guys believe it? So I'm gonna need a bunch of gears. And now we can make an assembly table, and we're also going to need this laser, and place it like this. And to power it, I'm going to need another flux generator. Okay, so this is pretty cool. If we hook up the laser to the generator, and put some items in it, we can make these diamond chipsets, and the laser actually, like, lasers. Like, it's pretty cool. Anyways, we're going to be needing a lot of different chipsets, and they kind of take a while to make, so I made a bunch more lasers to speed it up a bit. How cool is this, bro? Like, this is Minecraft. Like, what? Now, do I have a story for you? So, Tekkit used to have these things called teleport pipes, but unfortunately, they've been removed. I tried looking it up, and it turns out they're pretty glitchy. However, I really wanted to use them because I was sick of using these ender chests. Now, as you guys know, I'm a full-time programmer, and I found a way to hack the game and bring them back. Actually, you can just craft them still. I don't know if it's a bug, but it still works, so. Okay, now I don't know if these are actually supposed to be in the game, so let me actually make sure they still work. Okay. Looks like it works. Okay, before we get into why we need these things, I gotta fix something that's been an issue for a very long time. So the different EU transformers limit the amount of EU that can actually go through it, and so even though we have a whole bunch of MFSUs, our low voltage transformers are kind of bottlenecking everything, and our machines sometimes run out of power even though we have more than enough EU. So my idea is to just place like 50 transformers, that way we can just output a lot more. There's probably a way better way of doing this, but this works, so I don't really care. Now that we have some room in this front spot of our factory, I decided to put our kind of random machines in there, and I set up some hoppers and collectors to the rare earth extractors so that we'll constantly be making the stuff it makes. I can't remember what it does, to be honest. I recorded this so long ago. I know, I should have edited this sooner, but so something I've been wanting to do for a while is to redo this basement. It's kind of hideous and it's actually off-center with our new ceiling hole, so I gotta do something about it. And another thing, we're kind of running out of chest space. I don't know if you could tell, but I ended up just putting a bunch of chests around with a bunch of random items in it, so I'm gonna upgrade the sorting machine as well. Now before, if you remember, we used these diamond pipes to sort my items, but I found out that there are these things called jeweled transport pipes which can sort a lot more items. And finally, I kind of hate having to run over to all my auto crafters to grab like one singular item if I need it for crafting, so I want to move the items to the new storage system. system. Now I want to set up some redstone to automatically turn the auto crafters on and off to make sure we always have full barrels and to make sure we don't get any overflow. So to do that, I made a few of these logic gates from Project Red and then a bunch of this wireless redstone stuff. And once again, don't really remember how this works, but basically the idea is I wanted to only make the items when the lever is on, but stop making them when the barrel is full. Now, one great thing about the wireless redstone mod is you can actually give a name to your wireless frequencies. That way, I don't have to memorize certain numbers or colors and have to make sure I don't reuse it when building something else. So, good job, wireless redstone devs. I like it. I hooked all the wireless redstone up to the different autocrafters to make sure they actually can turn on and off, and I set up the wireless pipes to transport the items, and then took everything out of the old barrels and put them in the new ones. Next, I made some signs for the sorters, and to avoid overflow, I'm using more of these filters to go in the chest, and then I placed the jeweled sorting pipes with both stone and cobblestone pipes coming out to make sure the pipes don't connect. So these pipes can sort 27 different unique items per direction. So I spent the next 4 days sorting all of my items and cleaning up my other chests. And yes, you heard that right, it took me 4 days to do this. Okay, the pipes work a little bit differently, so I had to learn it a bit, so don't judge, it was confusing, alright? Anyways, now that I have all my items together and a lot more UU matter now, I wanted to see how hard it would be to make more high voltage solar panels. Well, that was kinda easy. It was so easy, in fact, I decided to make 3 more just for fun. There's still the problem of the solar panels not generating at night, so I decided to make another hybrid solar panel. And then I set myself a new goal to get the #1 solar panel, the ultimate solar panel. Now, the thing is, I think I have all the stuff to make this thing. It just takes a million different steps, so let's see if I could do it. Alright. Let's just get this over with. Macerate some coal. Make irradiant uranium. Make more, because we don't have enough. Make even more, because we still don't have enough. A bunch of sunarium. Use all of that to enrich the sunarium. Make 1 iridium plate. Realize I need 7 more. Make 7 more. Use all of that to make 1 sunarium alloy. Use plasma cells to enrich the sunarium alloy. Realize you need another one of these. Pause the game while you go take a little break to go cry. Repeat steps 2 to 12. And there we go, now we have the ultimate solar panel. Look at how easy that was. Okay, let me test this thing out because I'm kinda nervous to use it. Okay. Yeah, that's a good thing I tested this, bro. Could you imagine? Yeah, that's how long it's taken me to record this video, by the way, that this ninja thing is the current meme going around, so that should give you a sense of the timeline. I bet only like 5 of you guys found that funny anyways. That is if I still have any viewers left after 5 months of not posting. Oh man, I gotta get off TikTok, man. This is probably why my video is taking so long. And a little update as I'm finishing up this video. Now the current meme is, whatever this is. So, yep. After a bit more testing, I was finally able to get the solar panel to actually work, so I hopped back into my world and hooked it up to the power. After that, I kinda noticed there's a bit of a problem with my furnace wall, so I'm gonna upgrade it by downgrading it. No, like actually. So the problem is, this whole time I've been using the upgraded import upgrades, which will import a whole stack at a time, but if we only put 1 stack into the smelters, the entire thing will get picked up by 1 furnace. So if I swap them out with the basic import upgrades, it should only take in 1 at a time, and it'll make sure that it splits into everything evenly. Now, we have a lot of VMC, and even though our quantum armor is practically invincible, I want to make some of the red matter armor just because it's cool and like literally just why not? In order to make it, I had to first make the dark matter armor, then turn it into red matter armor, and finally combine it with a bunch of these power items. Wait, this thing stops rain? Okay, hold up. Okay, so now it should never rain on my solar panels. That would have been nice to know a long time ago. Anyways, I made the rest of our gem armor, and it's actually pretty sick. I don't need my ring to fly anymore, and it looks pretty cool. But for now, I think I'm gonna stick with my quantum armor because I don't see any Project E devs commenting on my video, so I just put it all on an armor stand for now. So, I don't know if anyone would have noticed this, but when I was redoing my walls in the basement, I've kind of just had my nuclear reactors sticking out this whole time. So I want to build like a proper area for it. I had this idea to put it like really deep underground in some sort of bunker, which I think is kind of an awesome idea. So I dug out a big area. Oh. I hit my speaker with my mouse and it right-clicked, bro. Bro, I have an advanced machine block too. That means I broke something. Oh, I'm actually an idiot, bro. Anyways, that's why you should always be careful when you have this red morning star. One misclick and you can accidentally remove a huge part of your base. So, once the area was dug out, I filled the floor with reinforced stone, and we can't just have a super cool bunker without having a super cool way of getting down there. And a lot of you guys really liked the builds I did with this last time, and I still think it's one of the coolest things you can do in this mod, so I'm going to use frames to build an elevator. I hooked up a bunch of the blue wires and connected them to some solar panels. Basically, how this is going to work is a motor is going to bring down the frames until they touch another motor, and then it'll just keep going until it reaches the bottom, and then I'm going to have a switch so that I can go up and down. It took a lot of messing around with the panels, motors, and redstone, but I finally got this. Okay, it appears to be working. This is good. Well, hopefully it doesn't randomly break and stop working and have me spend literally an hour trying to fix it and then somehow move bedrock and that almost ruining the whole build because nothing was working and I couldn't move it back. Well, good thing that didn't happen. Anyways, here's the finished build. It's a little bit glitchy, but it's okay. He's trying his best. After that, I moved the nuclear reactors to the bunker and started filling up the walls. Also, if you notice on the top left of my screen, it says the replay mod is recording. Well, I really tried to get it to work for building up these walls, but I guess if the recording is too long, it gets pretty glitchy on this version, and it just constantly crashed, so hopefully from now on, I'll have learned my lesson and get it working for the rest of the video. So, I'm a little bit stupid, and I built everything on different layers for some reason. I genuinely have no idea why I did that, but time to fix it, I guess. I also made another hole under my fly-holy thingy, and I took it all the way down to bedrock to connect it to my reactor area. Man, this thing is slow. Oh, okay. Well, that could have been bad. You know what, this thing is so bad, it probably would have been a good thing if the creeper exploded. I also kind of hate these walls going up by the elevator, so I fully removed them and I filled in some of the gaps here for when the elevator's at the bottom, so you don't see a big hole in the wall. I mean, you still do, but it's a little bit better now. When removing some of the other walls, I ended up breaking some stuff from the main floor, so I covered it up and, yeah, looks great. After that, I realized my sorting machine wasn't pulling any items out, and it turns out every single thing that I hooked up to a wireless transmitter was broken. I tried resetting the timer, I broke the transmitter and reset that, and still, nothing was working. I got just a little bit frustrated because the base looks like trash, there's random blocks and dirt everywhere, nothing works, and there's cables all over the place, so I decided to just take a little bit of a break from this stuff and work on something else. So I've had this idea for a very long time, and when I say a very long time, I mean like since last episode, so yeah, you guys know, that was a long time ago, but I really don't want to spoil it, so it's gonna be a little surprise for you guys. I set up some frames and motors, and we're gonna need one going down, one going this way, one going that way, and one more going up. Okay, it looks like everything is in place, so now all I gotta do is wire it up and hook it up to a computer. So if we type open, it should bring it down and move it over 5 times. How did I manage to do that? So now it should open up the floor so that I can just jump down. Oh yeah, okay, this looks pretty cool with all the blocks in. Man, this is definitely what I should have just done instead of that elevator. So this area is also going to be super secretive, so I gotta make it password protected just like my EMC vault. That way we can only open it if we know the super secret password. I filled in the walls with the reinforced stone, but I kept a little hole open in the ceiling, which I can't tell you what that's for yet, it's still a secret. But that secret isn't going to last too long. I need to create some items for it, and kind of gives it away, so basically I'm making a secret area for all my space stuff. Now originally I wanted to launch the rocket right through the center of my Walmart, but I didn't really plan out the rest of the base well enough, so it would have taken a lot of moving around and breaking stuff, which at this point I'd be fine with because this base kind of sucks, to be honest. But don't worry, I actually built it in a testing world, so this is how it would have looked. This actually has a lot of changes to the entire basement as well, but the problem is there's a lot of just empty space with nothing in it, so I also really wanted to use one of these turrets for if you get the password wrong 3 times, it'll just start shooting at you. But unfortunately, you can't actually craft them yet. It seems like this is kind of just a testing item, so it's not actually in the game technically, but I thought it was cool, so I thought I'd show you guys anyways. And one more thing, I actually tried using these time watches on the elevator to hopefully speed it up, but it didn't seem to work. Even putting the watches on every single motor didn't seem to work, so basically what I'm saying is this whole elevator was just a big waste of time. Anyways, back to the video. Now, one thing about these sorting pipes is that when you add the item to sort, it actually uses up the item. So in order to sort all the space machines, I had to use them up, so I gotta craft new ones. I spent the next couple of days making the items to build a new rocket, and then it was time to refigure out how to fuel it. So I actually have an ender tank to send over oil, so all I had to do was connect it to a refinery and fill up some canisters to put in the fuel loader. I had to move around the machines a little bit because apparently the pipes can only go into one side, but once I had all of that set up, it was finally time to go back to the moon. But not before I filled in the walls, of course, because that's an important step. Can't forget to do that. Also, just realized it's uneven, so that's just fantastic. Now, this time I've actually remembered that I gotta bring another fuel loader with me, and since they need power, I made a new MFSU. Also, apparently all my wireless retrievers are working now, so, okay. So now it's time to go back to the moon. And my game's frozen. Oh. Okay, that was weird. When I finally landed, I found some of these meteors, which apparently I'm gonna need a bunch of, so I spent some time and found a few more. Now, the actual reason I came here was to find something very specific. Now, these things spawn deep underground, so I just pulled out my red Morningstar and started digging. Nothing. Yeah, this could take a while. I'm not really sure the spawn rates are for this, so, Oh, bruh. It's literally... You know what? Not gonna complain, I'm just happy I found it. So this is a moon dungeon, and basically there are a few chests and monsters throughout, and there's actually a boss at the end, which you can get a special item from, which I'm gonna be needing for my next mission. And here is the boss. This is gonna be intense. Okay, let's do this. Oh, he picked me up. What is that noise? Bro, I can't take this seriously. That freaking scream. What is that? Oh, okay, he's spinning. He is spinning. Oh. I think I killed him. That was something. That was something. What'd you guys think? Pretty intense, huh? So, after I defeated that boss thing, it gives me a dungeon key to unlock this chest at the end. And this chest has the item I'm looking for. And it has the wrong item, because of course it does. So from the chest, I was looking for a tier 2 rocket schematic so I can build a better rocket, but I got a schematic for a moon buggy instead, so... Luckily, I brought a thing called a frequency transmitter, which allows me to talk to the moon villagers. So I was able to make a few trades and eventually get the tier 2 rocket schematic. After that, I kind of thought a moon buggy sounded sick, so I went to search for another dungeon. I finally found one and took out all the monsters. Dude, that sound is literally gonna give me nightmares. And I ended up getting the tier 2 schematic. So basically, I didn't have to trade the moon buggy one, and now I'm gonna have to trade this one. Excellent. After I traded that, I filled up the rocket with fuel and went back to Earth. So to make the tier 2 rocket, I need to make these heavy duty plates, which I need this meteoric iron, and you get that from smelting those meteor blocks that I collected. I honestly didn't know how many I needed when I was on the moon, but it turns out I have literally the exact number, so that was kinda lucky, I guess. And so I got all the ingredients and put the tier 2 schematic in the NASA workbench. And there we go. This thing is huge, bro. I filled it up with fuel, making sure to bring a bunch extra because this thing takes a ton of fuel, and I'm a little paranoid that I might not make it back. Alright, me from the future here. I was gonna add some epic music while I was launching, but I think I've done that every single time, so you get this voiceover instead. Alright, I actually don't even know where I can go with this thing. Okay, looks like I can go to Mars. Let's do it. Launch, let's go. What is this, bro? I'm in a bunch of balloons. Oh. Okay. Well, that's one way to land. When I landed on Mars, the first thing I did was dig down and check out some of the new blocks, and then I went out to explore a little bit. I ended up finding what I thought was a meteor, but then a slug came out. Like, what the heck is this, bro? I found another one and found out that you can apparently name them. And they also have a favorite food, so I fed it a bunch to make them grow, and yeah, that's all it did, really. Okay, I'm gonna name this guy a random commenter's name. Okay, random comment, here we go. And... okay, Dr. Stupid 1, it's your lucky day, because I'm gonna name a space slug after you, so guess that's something to be proud of. Anyways, after digging around for a little bit, I ended up finding this cool little cave area with a bunch of these little plants and green sludge. So I collected a bunch of things here and kept exploring. After just a little bit longer, I finally found a Mars dungeon. It's pretty similar to the Moon dungeon. There's monsters, there's chests, and at the end, there's a boss. Evolved creeper boss? Okay, this thing is actually kind of creepy. Oh. This is kind of easy. I don't think they intended for you to be able to be invincible and fly in Galacticraft, so, okay. I think I got him. Wait, did I not get a dungeon key for that? Bro, did it get blown up? What the heck? Yeah, so I'm pretty sure the creeper actually blew the dungeon key up, so I wasn't able to open this chest until I accidentally did this. Yeah, apparently the red morning star works on this thing, but I ended up getting an automatic cargo rocket, which is not what I need, so I need to find another dungeon. Also, apparently the morning star works on these slug rocks too, and I got a blue slimeling egg. After that, I finally found another dungeon. Bro. Yes! Okay, there we go. Tier 3 rocket. Now I can finally leave this place, bro. Okay, this is all the fuel I have, so I'm just gonna hope it's enough to get back. If not, I don't really know what to do, so... oh, we're burning through it quick, boys. This might not be good. I guess it's fine. Okay, then. We're back. Also, ignore this. This is a stylistic design choice. Alright, so I want to take a little bit of a break from all the space stuff and get back into some machinery. So I still don't actually have the best power item in the game, because they're a little bit difficult to make. And yeah, to make it, once again, need a bunch of these, so this will be fun. I started off by turning all my rare earth dust into some dead magnets. Macerator, extractor, compressor. And then I spent about 10 minutes fixing the redstone for this and fixing the machines because apparently I broke them at some point and just never fixed them. But once I got that working, I put the magnets in the electrolyzer to charge them. Other than that, the rest of the ingredients were pretty straightforward and I was able to build most of them with the items we already had. But once all the magnets were finished, we finally got the PESU. So this thing is insane, and just to use it, we're gonna need a bunch of transformers, one of them being the one we needed for the high voltage solar panel. So... and there it is, the IV transformer. So, fun fact, when I moved my nuclear reactor stuff to the bunker, I never actually powered it or hooked it up, like, at all. So I'm finally gonna do that. I put the PESU, I put the thingy in the center, and in order to use it, we need the IV transformer here. And okay, this next bit is gonna look really funky and kind of complicated, but remember how I said that the transformers limit the amount of power and we need multiple of them to maintain the output? Well, I spent like probably 2 hours in testing worlds trying to get a compact, efficient design to maintain the 32,000 EU per tick output of the so you don't really have to understand it. Honestly, I don't really understand it either. So you'll just have to trust me that it works, and I guess I'm gonna have to trust myself as well because yeah, I don't really know. Anyways, I brought the cable all the way up through the center of the floor and up into the power plant. See, look how nicely this lines up. And this is why you plan out your bases so that everything just works. Yeah, you probably guessed. I didn't actually plan that. It just kind of luckily worked out that way, so. But I actually kind of like it, though. It's probably the only cables in my base I think actually looks cool. Now that all that was done, it was actually time to rebuild my reactors. Now, similar to last time, I want to have a space that automatically generates new uranium cells, but this time it's going to be slightly different. So I set up all the auto crafters, filters, machines, and condensers, and had to connect them to some power. And now it's time to fill up the condensers, and you'll notice that instead of ender pearls, I'm using nether stars. That's right, I'm finally upgrading it. Now, I'm only building double cells because I couldn't find a way to make quad cells and not have it explode, so once that was done, I hooked up the tubes and placed the reactor blocks. Now, before, with the ender pearl uranium, we needed high voltage transformers, but now with the nether star ones, since the voltage is a lot higher, we have to use these EV transformers, with 2 HV transformers coming out the side. I kind of like how this looks. It kind of looks like one of those real-life power line things, you know what I mean? And then I spent the next 20 minutes making all the heat vents and things to cool the reactor. And I was one short. Of course. And once everything was set up, I turned them on, and I was generating about 7,000 EU per tick. And this thing will generate throughout the day and in the night, so I no longer have to worry about not having any power at night. After 270 days. Now, one thing I kind of miss is my quarry. It's been a long time since it's actually been running, and the quarry is really what got me into Tekkit in the first place when I was a kid, and now that we have a lot of power, we can consistently run the quarry at full speed. What is hitting me, bro? Is it the bees? Also, ain't no way I'm running the power all the way to the quarry, so just moved it closer. Okay, so I know I've had some pretty stupid moments in this series already, but what I did in this next bit, I can't even explain. Like, I feel like I need to submit my brain to science after this so it could be studied, because I don't know what I was thinking. Okay, so basically, I put the wrong cables on the wrong side and thought the generator was backwards, so I went to look for my wrench, which was near my nuclear reactors. Then I broke my reactor with the wrench and realized somehow the items in my reactors were different. Then I placed the generator in the other direction and used a different cable and realized it was the right way before. Anyways, we got the quarry working, woohoo! So now that we have our PESU outputting to the power plant, we don't really need these MFSUs anymore. With that whole transformer machine that I built, the voltage is the exact same, so we don't have to worry about anything exploding. So if we disconnect the MFSUs, the output goes from 5,600 to over 32,000. And when I hooked that up directly to my mass fabricator, it was probably the fastest UU matter generation I've ever seen. I realized I still had some stuff set up with my quarry, and all the items were kind of just being spat out, so I fixed that. Man, this Smeltery system is probably still the only original thing I have about my base, and as much as it hurts, I have to change it. Alright, we've cleared it out, and let's build version 2.0. So for this, I actually want the power in this room, and I hooked it up to one of my many extra MFSUs. Oh yeah, and I also probably forgot to mention this, but the flux generators work on the wooden pipes, so this is a way better way than using engine. So originally, I was just going to sort the items into our existing Smeltery, just putting them into the corresponding ender chests, but I soon realized that that was kind of stupid because the ores would turn into the dust, and then the dust would just go into our sorting machine, so I decided to just build a whole new version. So basically, it's just a macerator and a furnace. It's not very complex. We have an egg. Does that mean what I think it means? Yes, we have a friend. Let's go. Now, I decided to make 4 more quarries because I started wondering, what was my original goal back in 100 days? That's right, deforestation. And I don't know about you, but this looks like quite the full forest. Oh my gosh, is this my original base? It is. Bro, my old machine room? Bro, my unfinished quarry. I think in honor of my quarry, I have to finish it myself. Well, that was dumb of me. I don't have any inventory space. Anyways, after that, I set up my second quarry, powering it all the way from my flux generators. And to make it consistent, I moved my other quarry up high to be at the same height as my other one, cause it was kinda bothering me. Now with 2 quarries running, this chest is definitely gonna be full very soon. So I added a condenser on the other side of the diamond pipes, adding things like cobblestone and dirt. So I have something really cool planned for 400 days. And yes, there will be a 400 days. And in order to set things up for it, I'm gonna need another autocrafter machine. For what I wanna build, I'm gonna need hundreds and hundreds of plasma cells and magnets, so I should probably start working on that now. The build is pretty basic, just making rare earth dust and turning that into magnets, and then electrolyzing them. Oh my gosh. Bro, And then I just have an extra mass fabricator and empty cells going into a plasma fire. Now, one interesting thing I did with this build was add another MFSU before all the machines, and that was because in this case I actually want to limit the amount of power, so we don't end up draining our supply just on this machine. Okay, I think it's finally time to get rid of this dirt. I decided to do a little bit of a base cleanup because there's a bunch of crap everywhere and it's getting kind of hard to live in, and I feel like this is pretty long overdue. And yes, base cleanup includes fixing up the cables. So I came up with a bit of a better way of powering my machines. With medium and low voltage transformers, there's pretty much no way of getting the full 32,000 EU output. So instead of having this big room full of the transformers, I decided to just put the transformers for each machine instead. The advanced machines actually take medium voltage, so like technically this way is better. Yeah, you're just gonna have to trust me on this. It's better, I swear. Now, I have a little bit of an experiment. I'm kind of surprised that this is the maximum quarry speed. Once again, I think most people would just AFK and let it mine for a while, but if I did that, it'd be like day 1,000 already. So my idea is to use time watches. I wasn't really confident that this would work, but yeah, it does. Quite a lot, actually. Like, this thing is crazy. Uh-oh. Is that my nuclear reactor? Oh, crap. This isn't good. Okay. Please don't explode. Wasn't even worried. I got this under control. No, but in all honesty, I have no idea how this overheated. Like, I have all the parts, right? I think. And I also realized that my barrels weren't hooked up, and if they were, it would have just kept pumping this with uranium, and it definitely would have exploded. So sometimes my stupidity works out, but like, I mean, if I wasn't stupid in the first place, it probably wouldn't have overheated. So you want to hear something funny? We spent a long time building this nice big castle, and we haven't even done anything with it yet, so I wanted to take a little bit of time and decorate it. I don't even know if my door still works. Okay, that's good. Honestly, if it didn't work, I probably would have just ignored it and cut it out of the video. I started off by building a floor for a bedroom, and I also built some stairs. And for a bedroom, you know, you kind of need a bed. Please, I really hope at least somebody gets this reference. I also found these blocks that I got a long time ago from the Nether called smokers, and they give off like a nice smoke effect, which I think is a great touch for a nice little hot tub. Also, I found these speaker items from Computer Craft, and I have no idea if they're functional or not, but I thought they looked kind of cool, so I decided to build a little jukebox speaker system beside my bed. Oh, sticky keys. For my next decoration, I grabbed my gem armor from my factory. I decided I want to make a bunch of cool looking armor for some armor stands. Why doesn't this work? I'm gonna cry. Oh. That's why it doesn't work. So apparently my wireless transmitter wasn't even hooked up, so I went to grab one and... Oh no. Oh no, oh no, oh no, 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 no. Don't be corrupt, don't be corrupt, don't be corrupt, don't be corrupt. Wasn't even worth. Anyways, after that was done, I turned a bunch of coal dust into carbon fiber, and then into some carbon plates to make some nano armor. I put on the gem armor and made the rest of the Project E pieces, and some diamond armor as well. So far the armor wall is looking good, and now all I need is another quantum suit. So to make this I need another nano suit, and a bunch of this. And there we go. Alright, looks good. I actually kind of like this. And another decoration I want is a bunch of mob heads. You get them by killing them with a charged creeper, and with my magic power ring I can shoot lightning, as you may remember, and pretty much just make charged creepers whenever I want. So this should be a very easy task. You guys should know by now that yeah, I was being sarcastic. Let me just roll the clip. What? Oh. You're kidding. Yep, I somehow died from that. And apparently the last place I slept was this pirate ship from 100 Days. And if you look at the coordinates, yeah, I'm pretty far away from my base. And my stuff's gone. But the creepers are still here, so that's great. Okay, I gotta actually make a bed. Imagine I died there. Okay. Okay, watching this footage back, not sure why I broke the bed right after I set my spawn. Luckily, I didn't actually die after that, so it didn't matter, but could you imagine I died after breaking my bed and then had to travel all the way back again? Anyways, I spent the next little bit making some new armor and some new tools. After that, I went back to getting the mob heads. And you know what's funny? Remember how I said I had a hard time getting them? Well, me dying was just the beginning. I could like barely find any creepers, which is crazy because they always seem to spawn when I don't want them. And now that I do want them, there just aren't any. And so many times the lightning just ended up killing the creeper. And when I would finally get the creeper and the mob together, it just wouldn't kill them sometimes. Anyways, I eventually got a skeleton skull using this extremely advanced tactic called digging a hole so that they'll die. And then I got a zombie head. It turned into day before I could get the creeper head, but luckily I found 2 creepers in my bedroom, so I had to very carefully lure them out into a safe spot. No! Okay, you know what? Skeleton and zombie, classic combo. Who needs anything else? Definitely not me. What am I doing, bro? Anyways, I had this cool idea to display my dragon egg in this corner here, so I made a little platform out of obsidian and placed the egg in the center. Now, it looks a bit weird, so I had a couple of different iterations, but I decided to add some end rods, which I was able to get using some UU matter, and it actually ended up looking a lot cooler than I expected. And for those of you saying, wow, he must be really running out of ideas, shut up. You're running out of ideas. I just realized that I've never actually been to an end city, and I kind of want a dragon head for my room, so I headed to the stronghold. It took me some time to find the portal room, and even longer to find an end city, but I finally found one, and I got myself a dragon head, and also an elytra, which I will have absolutely no use for. After that, I thought it was finally time to make the moon buggy. I couldn't find my schematic, and then I remembered. I had it inside of one of my alchemical bags, and every single one of those despawned when I died to my lightning ring. I was in a fit of rage. I had to go all the way back to the moon, spend 45 minutes looking for another dungeon, just for it to be the wrong schematic again. Psych, only kidding, haha, what a good prank. Yeah, I didn't actually have to do any of that. The alchemical bags work like ender chests, so I just made some more of the same colors and eventually found my schematic. That's actually such a good feature though. Like, I know I've joked about me crying from making this episode, but if I actually had to do all of that again, I might have actually shed some tears after that. Anyways, the buggy is actually like extremely easy to make. It pretty much just requires a bunch of the basic Galacticraft items, and there we go. Oh yes. Now the buggy also needs a fuel loader, and I can't really put it down in the basement because I'll have no way to drive it upstairs. So I made another fuel loader, and I'm gonna put it in my castle. I set up a solar panel and placed these specialized buggy fueling pads, and then I powered it with a generator because I didn't want to wait till morning, and once it was all fueled up, we could drive it. Yo! Okay, turning radius kinda sucks, but it's alright. Okay, getting up this hill is gonna be annoying. Okay, this isn't... I'm just gonna... So clearly, if we're gonna have a car, we're gonna need a road. Whee! It's a little bit bumpy, but it's part of the experience. At this point, I felt like an absolute king. A multi-billionaire living in a massive castle perched atop a hill with my new sports car, overlooking the villagers toiling away beside my towering industrial empire. But simply being rich wasn't enough. No, I wanted more. I decided to become governor of the world. And to maintain my status, I'm gonna build the villagers a proper subdivision and put them to work in my factory. And there we go, we got ourselves some townhomes. Now, actually moving the villagers in was a little bit of a challenge. In this version of Minecraft, you can't actually push minecarts, so I kind of had to just get lucky for the villagers to actually move, and yeah, it was a little bit of a pain. I finally got a couple villagers to go to my subdivision. Look at him admiring the beauty of Walmart. What a sight. And then I got one more villager to be my employee. So I want this guy to guard my sugarcane farm, so I'm gonna make a few changes. And here he comes, our newest employee. Also moved around the chest and pedestal because it kind of looked dumb. And then this happened. Oh. Uh-oh. It's not responding. This isn't good. Okay. It seems to be working. Yeah, you guys don't understand how many worlds I've lost due to corruption in the past, so I'm just a little bit paranoid. So, fun fact, our nuclear reactors are out of uranium now because I never actually set up the autofilling, and since this is pretty much the only power storage that we have now, when this runs out of power, everything runs out of power. So I finally set it up. I'm like 99% sure you can reuse these depleted cells, but I don't got time for that right now. Video's almost over. Plus, I have like so much EMC that I'll just essentially never run out. This game has also kind of made me realize just how rich some people are in the world. I'm just out here dropping 10 mil like it's nothing. And in real life, I'm trying to get sponsorships so I can order more Uber Eats. So, not sponsored by Uber Eats, by the way, okay? So I actually noticed something about the Quarry that needs fixing. And to fix it, I want to make some more high voltage solar panels. I made one and realized it would literally be fine to just use a bunch of mediums. Okay, so the problem is even though we have the watches by the Quarry, it's still kind of slow, and the issue is that the cables are still locked at their normal speed because the watches are too far away. So I think initially when it was going really fast, it just had a bunch of excess power in it, and then when it used all of that, it defaulted back to its slow mode. So my plan is to pretty much move the power just here and have a bunch more time watches. And there we go, it was back up to full speed, so I did the same to the other Quarry. Oh my gosh, look, a butterfly. And I forgot to do this earlier, so I think it's finally time to build a Mars replica. I can't see a thing, bro. Yeah, this concrete makes things pretty dark, and my helmet is actually supposed to have night vision on it, but the keybinds don't seem to work, so I just made one from Industrial Craft instead. Oh, that is much better. Okay. Looks a bit weird, but... And now that we only have one day left, I want to end this episode with a bang. And no, not another nuke, but maybe something a little bit more celebratory. I found this firework display item, and it looked super cool, so I had to try it out. Turns out, I had no idea how to use it. Right-clicking didn't do anything, and apparently you gotta make all this complicated stuff on some sort of custom-made minecart. And if you know me, you know I can't be bothered. Wow, did you really think that? Well, maybe I actually did learn about it, and maybe I actually did build it all, and maybe I paused my recording and accidentally skipped a bunch of the build process. Okay, yeah, I know, that's my bad, honestly. I'm actually kind of surprised that it's taken this long to forget to record, but anyways, it wasn't actually that complicated to make. It quite literally just takes a bunch of vanilla items like iron, redstone, and things like that. Anyways, I also realized there was a missing red wire in my sorting machine. I have no idea how long it's been like this, but that would explain why I felt like I was missing so many items. So yeah, that was that was a bit of an L, not gonna lie. Anyways, here I sat on top of my castle watching the sunrise to 300 days. But I'm not quite done. I still gotta set off all my fireworks. So apparently the time watch can actually reverse days, so I brought it back to day 299 so I can get a nice cinematic view. And no, this isn't cheating, okay? Call it a bonus content, just for you guys. So I put the fireworks in my cart. I don't know how this works. Okay, maybe you need an activator rail. Okay, take two. So an activator rail seems to have done it, so I set up a whole bunch of them. And I didn't have any other blocks on me, and I was too lazy to open the transmutation tablet, so I quite literally built this whole thing out of crafting tables. Okay, take three. So apparently when I picked up my cart, it turned all of my fireworks into regular ones without all the patterns. So I had to make some new ones, and after a lot of trying to get this minecart working, I got this. Kind of anticlimactic, but And then I realized it probably would have just been better if I used dispensers, so I set up a daylight sensor so that the fireworks would go off right on 300 days. And then I broke it like immediately after because I'm stupid, but you know what, it might have been a good thing because it looks pretty cool in the nighttime. Anyways, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. You know, didn't actually take me too long, you know. Pretty quick video if you ask me. No, but seriously guys, I spent a long time working on this video, and I do read all of your comments, and I try to reply to all of them, so please let me know what you guys' thoughts on this video, and yeah, I'll see you guys in 6 months for 400 days.